now would be a moment if anybody has any questions for Khet about her writing, about her life. We have a good bit of time, 15 minutes or more. So feel free to raise your hand and ask.
Please. Yes, please.
When did you leave Burma, and have you ever been back?
I was in Iowa City in 2007 for an international writing program, and I really had a difficult time to return because of the revolution, but I returned. And I came here again in 2009 until now, but it is very hard to tell you that if it is okay or not if I returned, because of my country's situation and because of my past activities on democracy issue. Yes.
Was the story about the two women at dawn actually a story that someone told you, or is that a Burmese folk tale?
No, that was my dream. That was true.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Where in the United States is there a large concentration of Burmese refugees?
There are a very big Burmese community in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., New York. Even in Pittsburgh, we have about 400 Burmese refugees. Yes.
You've spoken several times about the censorship you experienced
Yes.
in your country. How has that affected your writing?
That is a huge program for not for me, for all Burmese writers. So, and it is very, very hard to explain because they don't have, the censorship board has no clear-cut guideline. So for example, we cannot write the name of our democracy leader, Aung San Suu Kyi, even her name we cannot write, and we cannot write any issue that related on politics. So we cannot write our Burmese people are very poor or are in very bad condition. So the genres just when people know everything in Burma are good, developed like that, but actually not. So, for example, I wrote this story in 2007 September, but I wanted to publish this in Burma, in a Burmese magazine. So I cannot explain the detailed date and time and detailed events in Burma. And I wrote, I cried, but I didn't write why I cried. So, but they put off even the name of the man, the September. They didn't let me write. That was in September because there was a revolution in September 2007. So they are very sensitive on names and months and date. So they won't let me write like August 8 in any writing because we had a very serious uprising in 1988, on August 8, 1988, like that. Yes.
I know that you write both poetry and short stories and things. Is there a medium that you prefer, and how does your writing change when you're going across?
Actually, I want to say I am a short story writer. I am not a poet because I have written just a few poetry and I prefer to write short stories because writing poetry is much more difficult than writing short stories for me. Yes.
Is your family still in Burma, like your parents and brothers and sisters?
Yes, my mother and my brother are in Burma right now.
What about your father?
He died in 1994 because of it. It is another interesting story, my personal story. He died because of as a forced labor. So at that time, the military government were building new roads and new bridges, and they asked a civilian to work there. If every one person from each household must work at the building, and if someone from your family cannot go there, you have to pay to the government. So most family couldn't afford to pay, so they tried to go there. My father was one of them. He was on a hospital for a week, and after his time on hospital, he went back to his home, and he had to go to the work to build a new road. So after just one day, he died because he was not healthy enough to work as a forced labor. Yes.
When did you write your first story? What motivated you?
First story?
Yeah.
That was actually my first story. I wrote my first story when I was in 7th grade for my school paper. But my first short story was published in 1989 when I was 20. Any questions?
Actually, there's a funny story about that too, right? That you had 2 accepted, and that one wasn't published because they thought that something.
Yeah. Actually, my first short story was censored because I wrote about a girl who preferred to be only in her room, and as a Burmese house, we have iron bar on our window, so she always stand up near the window which has iron bars. So I portray her images near the window. So the censorship board thought I was writing about our democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi, who was under house arrest, and they didn't let me print. Actually, that was not that was my own story. And again, my first novel was burned as well. Almost the same reason. That was about my experience in the prison. I was arrested in 1991 and was sentenced for 10 years. But I was only 1 year in the prison, and I released because of the national amnesty. Yes, I can pronounce that. And so I wrote my experience in the prison with my friends, but I changed the names of my friends, and I changed the places, but they knew that was a prison, so they didn't let me print my first novel. So I have a good experience on my first short story and first my novel. Yes.
Were they later published?
Not yet. Not yet.
What's available for the Burmese people to read?
Only the writing that censorship let them know.
What about any other media? TV, internet?
Everything is under control by military government, so we can't know the real situation of the world and real situation of the Burma as well. For example, we had a very bad cyclone Nargis in 2008 May that over 150,000 people died and 3 million people became homeless. But most of Burmese people didn't know about that much because the government cut all. Actually, not they cut. We don't have enough electricity. For example, almost no electricity. So we have about 2 hours a day the electricity. So we can listen to the news. We can watch the TV and we can read the newspaper. So most of them didn't know that much.
Are people taught to read in school? But they just don't have anything to read?
No. We don't. There are no libraries at school, especially in countryside. Yeah, we have some library in schools that are in the cities, but just government papers, not everything, not every magazines, not every journal.
People do learn.
Yes. Yes.
Can you explain the process of censorship, like particularly with your writings?
Yeah, we have to be passed through twice. Every writer's writing first we don't write on computer because computer is very expensive for the Burmese writer. Almost all of us write by hand, and we have to send them the handwriting, I don't know how to say, manuscript, yes, first to the censorship board, and they read it, and if they think this is okay to publish, they let us, actually they let the editors to print those writings, but after the process of printing as a magazine, we also need to send the magazine to the censorship as a second time. Although they already let the editors print for example, my story, if they think this is not good to let readers know the subject or the idea, so they can censor, although the stories was published already. Okay.
Thank you.
Are you okay with my English?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.